Welcome back to Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. I have a phenomenal woman here today. Guys, you all got to sit somewhere and listen to all of this good information. This is Miss Chantelle Cotton, and she is an insurance agent, has been for 15 years. She's a sales advocate. She also teach and train how to sell your program, products, or services. She has those sales conversations. She's just not a salesperson. She has those real serious conversations. And also, too, her mission, her ministry is called I Promise Women Ministry, focusing on self-love, self-respect among women. She also focuses on teen pregnancy prevention. Welcome, Ms. Cotton. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am great. I am great. So I have told everyone a little bit about you, but we're going to let you talk a little bit about what encouraged you to get into. First, let's talk about the insurance business, and then we'll get into the real nut of the boat of all of this once we get through talking about this, and then we'll talk about the women ministry. So tell me, what encouraged you, or what made you wanted to get into insurance? Because you're a former educator. So what made you decide to go that route?
So actually, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't something that I sought after. It was something that kind of just fell in my lap.
Okay.
I was in the mortgage industry back in the day when the mortgage was booming back in the 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 era before it crashed and burned. And so I was an account executive for mortgage companies. And for people that don't know what that means, is I was liaison. I was an AE, which is called account executive, and that's the liaison between the bank, subprime banks, and the brokers who had potential buyers that were looking to buy homes. And so I would pre-approve those loans so that those people who didn't have the A1 credit could get approved for housing. So I did that for a number of years until it crashed and burned. I left that position and, well, it left us, and became a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant back when I was in grad school, and became a flight attendant and did that for a little while, trying to figure out where jobs were going to be plentiful since we were in, the market was crashing and everything. And then I ended up, I had interviewed for a job that was sales, but it was insurance sales at a credit union, and I did respectfully declined the job and took the flight attendant thing. And then like a year and a half later, when I was looking, because I had my master's degree at that point, the initial job I was supposed to get was no longer available due to 9/11. And so I was back looking for a position, and that company called me back and asked me, was I still open to, possibly taking on the role? So I was like, absolutely. But I don't live in Georgia anymore. I live in DC area. And they were like, you know what? We just so happen to have a position available in that area. Let's set up an interview, set up the interview, did the interview, got hired. And that's how I got into the insurance business, kind of just fell into it.
Okay. Now, guys, she just does not just sell insurance. She really let you know how it can help you financially, the some of the benefits. Can you tell us a little bit about what this insurance can do for us?
So the insurance is something that everybody needs, but not everybody understands that you have to have. And most people have a negative connotation behind it. But each individual that's walking the earth is responsible for making sure that their loved ones aren't left with bills, debt, and along with the grief and sorrow that they're going to experience as the absence of you. So if someone gets a life insurance policy that's as little as $15,000, at least that takes the financial burden off of your loved one, so that they can send you off properly, and they can actually grieve you properly instead of stressing about how they're going to bury you. So
Right.
that's the first myth. So the approach that I take with my clients there's several different things that fall up under the insurance umbrella, not just a death benefit, but there are living benefits, there are investment vehicles, there are different things that can help you set up your financial future while you're living, as well as protect your loved ones when you leave here. So my job, to me, I feel, is to educate my clients on what's the best product that's going to be for them, that's going to set themselves up and their family's future. So they're not transferring debt, they're transferring wealth and leaving a legacy behind when they do pass on, something that our African American people of color don't get privy to until sometimes later in life. Now, not all, but most don't get
Right.
educated on these things, so they don't know what to set up. So they're ending up doing GoFundMe's and having to borrow money, and all the things. And all this can be avoided if you know better. You can do better. Now, some people know better
Absolutely.
and still don't,
Yeah.
but I try to make sure that I educate people on the different types of products, what's going to fit their needs, and also what's going to be in their budget, so that they are not looking at that every month like, darn, I wish I didn't have that because I want to do this. It's something that you have to forget about because it's something that is needed for life. And you have to make sure you're in the right product that you don't look up 30 years from now and you don't have it anymore because you did a term. And there's nothing wrong with term. You just need to have something that's forever so that
Right.
you'll have something placed, because you might live to be 100. Who knows?
I plan to anyway.
I don't know if I want to be here that long, but we'll see.
I don't know if I have good health, good mind. Why not? My dad lived to be 95. My grandmother was 99. So
Oh,
she died
good. That is
right before
awesome.
her 100th birthday.
My
So
blood ran the most.
longevity is in my blood.
That's good. Mine on my father's side is 85, was the longest,
Okay.
and that I'm aware of, that I can remember. The grandparents that I remember are
Okay.
85. And on my mother's side, my grandmother, she stayed till 83. My grandfather on my mother's side, he died young, but he died at his own recognizance because he smoked them
Okay.
cigarettes with no
Gotcha.
filters.
Yeah. Yes.
So
The
when
old
they
way.
when they them old school,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So guys, one thing about it, you must get insurance, because I'm telling you, I actually had the privilege to meet her, and I could not let her get away from me. So this is why she's here today, because she made me feel comfortable in getting the insurance. She made me feel that it was something that I really truly needed, and I agreed, and so we're here. All right, so she's going to tell you a little bit more about how you can contact her and all of that at the end. But now we're going to go to your self love. We're
Oh,
going to talk about your mission. We're going to talk about your ministry. We're going to talk about what it is that you love to do other than insurance. Now, guys, she's a beast with the insurance, but I'm going to tell you this right here. You got to hear it.
well, my ministry stems from my upbringing, from my experience, actually. My experience was I was a two-time teen mom. So by the time I was 17, I had to birth two babies, 14 months apart, called them Siamese twins. But my story is a little different than the average person who had children in high school. I was given an opportunity to continue, finish high school on time, go to college, get an education, and all of the things. Whereas some were my friends, my peers that actually got pregnant in high school's parents told them, these your babies, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Where even though at the time I didn't realize the blessing that I had been given, I later learned what that was. So as a result of my mistakes and misinformation and not or lack thereof, I in 2006 established a nonprofit organization called inspiring people to reach their dreams Inc., which was a teen pregnancy prevention programs, substance abuse, abstinence, and purity organization. I since honed this, what do you call it? There's a thing that I often went by and asked, what's the title of my book, called
Mm-hmm.
Why Do I Say Yes When I Should Say No?
Okay.
And all of that stemmed from lack thereof self-love, lack thereof self-respect, lack thereof not knowing what I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
making the wrong decisions, not having the education or the wherewithal to understand what those things should have been, so I could have made different choices.
Right.
And so I established that nonprofit organization, and that why do I say yes, which also out of that birth I promised me to affirm myself to affirm young ladies, to educate, to inform, so that they could have tools to go out there in the world and make better choices and decisions. So
Absolutely.
that is my passion, is to inform, to encourage, to uplift, to motivate, to um, teach women, young women, when they're coming up, when they're in their informative years, that the level of self-love they have for self determines the level of love they're going to have that comes into their world, in their life, in their decisions, and it translates to every part of their lives, every relationship, whether that's the coworker relationship, the boss to the employee, whether that's the mother to daughter, father to daughter, brother to sister, spouse to spouse, whatever that looks like. Your level of love that you have for self determines how you allow people to treat you. Period.
Absolutely. And one thing about it, I want to go ahead on and dispel one thing. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, there was no mistake. God makes no mistake in which wombs that He has chosen for those two babies to come from. Had that not happened, you would not have the story that you have to tell today, which will
Right.
definitely help other women who don't know what to do when they put in that position. Now you have gone through the process, you're able to help someone else get through the process. And on top of that,
Absolutely.
I must say to you that you are encouraged to continue to do what it is that you love. And you're going to soon be able to do all the things that you set out to do. That's just the foundation, you know.
Thank
I,
you very much. Yes.
well, I tell you, when we talk about empowering women,
Mm-hmm.
we got to look at our girls. Like you said, they a lot of things they're uneducated about, they don't understand about, and the society as we see it now, social media and everything else, have now allowed young girls to feel that it's okay to be dressed inappropriately. It's okay to be called names. It's okay to be um, sex objects. The list can go on and on and on, but it starts with respect and it
Mm-hmm.
starts with self
Mm-hmm.
respect. So when
Mm-hmm.
you say that, it's just not a word, it is something that you're going to be able to ingrain into the mind, into the heart of these girls that think it's all pretty and they think it's just all convenient, but they don't know what they're setting themselves up for. But to know
Right.
that there's someone sitting there to say, I can show you something better.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
thank you, Miss Cotton, for doing what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to help. And it's just going to get bigger and better. I'm looking
Thank
forward to
you.
continue to see where you are and where you're going. And I'm just like I said, I am so happy to meet you, to sit there and talk to you the other day. It made me realize that there was something about you, and I said that to you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that there was something about you, and now I know, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
again, God don't make no mistakes. The things people think a lot of times things that happen, there's no coincidence, because I truly was going to wait until Miss Doss came to you and I was going to come later.
Mm-hmm.
She says, no, let's go together.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
like the way everything turned out for the both of us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And understand that as I matured and I grew up, I understood that, just like you said, those weren't mistakes. Those were just things that I had to go through along my journey in order for God to mold me into the woman that He created me to be a voice. Because see, when He did come to me and He spoke to me, when I did found that nonprofit back in 2006 and started writing my book, the book I Promised Me and then Why Do I Say Yes, he said that I was chosen because there was going to be a generation of youth that were going to come up that weren't going to believe just anybody who said
Mm-hmm.
to them, no, you shouldn't do this and no, you shouldn't do that, because of just what you said, so much stuff on social media, on TV, that is thrown at them that makes it seem like it's okay to behave in these
Yeah,
manners. He said, I
absolutely.
need somebody that I have molded, that I have taken through the fire, that I have broken the chains from, that has lived the
Hallelujah.
life, has lived it, walked through
Mm.
it, and gives me the glory at the end, that can tell
Yes.
because they will believe you because you're not just speaking about something you saw, you're speaking about something you actually lived.
That's
And
it.
so my biggest thing, like I said, was going into, your level of self-love and something that I did not know how to have because I was ashamed and I wore a veil that I pretended a lot. I could mock it, I could pretend, but nobody knew the demons and the torment that I dealt with on the inside. But on the outside, it looked like everything was all right. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, if I was a teenager and I was feeling these things and didn't have the answers that I needed, I know there are other kids out there that felt the same way. And then I also know that there are young adults and grown women who have never dealt with their trauma or their pain that are still battling with it 30 years later, and their kids are grown and on their own, but they're still locked in the bondage because they never got set free, because they never realized that it was just a choice that they could make. They could choose to stay here or choose to do something else, but they've never had anybody guide them or be a voice of reason for them to know that they can choose different. And
Mm-hmm.
so I take a passion in whenever I'm talking to. I don't care what the situation is. I could be talking to you about insurance. I could be talking to you about how to sell a program, product, or service, because that's another
Mm-hmm.
one of my businesses. And if the Holy Spirit hits me and I have something to share with you, then I'm going to speak on it without no shame, no nothing. When there's a time in my life when I can remember that I was quiet because I didn't think enough of myself, because I lacked self-love, because I didn't think I was good enough, because someone had told me because I had two babies out of high school that nobody would ever take me seriously. And
Yeah.
so the lies of the enemy stayed there and they grew and they took root. But then God said, I'm going to pluck those roots. I'm going to redeem you. I'm going to show you who I created you to be. And I'm going to continue to mold you along this journey as long as you keep seeking me and saying yes to me. And so when I realized that and he revealed that, and I was able to shun away that enemy and that voice that was telling me I couldn't, then I was able to stand up proper, and I was able to fill up my self-love tank and be able to come out here and speak on these topics and speak on these platforms like yours to tell women that it's okay to say no. You don't always have to say yes. And
Oh, wow.
it's okay to be.
Oh, girl, that's so good. See what I'm saying, guys? Phenomenal in a short period of time. Just imagine if you had more time to hear what she has to say. So I do want you all to continue to look out for her again, because we're definitely going to have her live on my talk show. But right now, we're going to do this podcast and get it ready for you all, because you all just got just a little bit of what you're going to get later. So, Ms. Cotton, tell us a little bit about your book, and then how they can contact you for insurance and all this good information.
Okay. So if you guys want to get in touch with me from the ministry side, the women's advocate, the self-love, you just go to whydoisayyes.com, spell that all the way out. I have a t-shirt line that says, with my I Promise Me t-shirts. I even have finer after COVID. What does that mean? I'm already fine, but I'm going to be finer after COVID. So it was a cute little thing, and it was just words of affirmations. I think on there some better than before, meaning you're better and you've had a good, but God says you're going to be better than before. So why do I say yes.com? You can get my I Promise Me book that I wrote for young girls. It's for girls, I would say ages 10 all the way up to 18. It's an ebook that you can find that on there. It has affirmations. It's a survival guide for them when they don't have anybody to talk to, but they can promise themselves, because if they can't count on themselves, who can they count on?
Yeah.
So that's on that website. So that's my ministry side. If you want to contact me regarding getting your finances, your financial future set up, meaning your retirement plans, life insurance, things of that nature, you can go to you can send me an email at the Lux Level Insurance Group. That's LUXXE Insurance Group at gmail.com. You can find me on social media handles at I am Chantelle C. That's I am CHANTELLEC. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media platforms. And you can also locate me on www.mattmacfinancial.com. Matt, that's MATMAC financial.com.
Awesome. And I will have that also on the website for you guys to really, really be able to access both her book as well as insurance. We all need it. I want to say thank you, Miss Cotton. I love you already. And I cannot wait to have more of you. And you guys, you are going to see more and more of her. All right. So welcome
Thank
back.
you.
Thank you all to Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Until the next time. All right. Bye-bye.